some kinds of tariffs will have to come in. I mean, I think it would be folly of him to sort of push ahead without bringing something in. I think the PNTR, the Permanent National Trading regime, will go. So we certainly will see some actions, and that's going to be tough for China. Because, as you said, its economy is struggling. It's relying more than ever before on exports to keep the growth going, and this could really hit the export sector in China pretty badly.
What are Beijing's options in terms of how it could respond? Because, as we've been discussing, the economy is on the ropes, is in a very fragile situation. Are they really going to be able to go head-to-head with the US when we talk about US exceptionalism in an all-out trade war?
It's going to be very tough for them because if you look at the alternatives, they're not that attractive. Presumably, the currency is going to devalue further. That, of course, will put pressure on other countries in terms of exports going out of China. We've already seen the European Union acting against China related to electric vehicles. We've seen frustration in the region with a number of countries feeling that, cheap Chinese goods are flooding their markets, are putting native businesses out. There's complaints from Thailand, from Indonesia, and so forth. So that is one route, and it's probably a route they will take, but it's not very likely to be helpful to them in the long run. They can, of course, put counter tariffs on things that China that America would desire. They've already suggested with some of the minerals, rare minerals, for example, they might hold back on those. But we call them rare earth minerals, but they're not that rare. They're actually in a lot of different countries. It's just they're rare because it hasn't been economic to exploit them. That could change quite significantly. Now, they were pretty sharp in the first Trump administration with what they targeted with their tariffs, and one would expect they would do that again, try and hit some of his support base, like American farmers, shifting soybean imports to Brazil away from American farmers. So they've had some experience. The economy might be a bit more resilient than we think, but there's no doubt it's going to be a very, very tough haul.
Tony, I got to ask you, and this is jumping ahead quite a few places, but let's maybe cut to the chase, right? There's been talk of perhaps Trump wanting to possibly through Besant, right, achieve a grand bargain with China, one, and two, part of that would be a New Age, New Era Plaza Accord, not to do with Japan, obviously, but to do with China, which would involve either devaluing or potentially realigning the value of the dollar. Does that make sense to you? How realistic is that?
I think that's a long way down the road, to be honest. I mean, I think that might be a potential end game, but I don't think that's going to be something that's going to be discussed initially. I mean, I think there's going to be too much friction to start with. There's going to be too much testing of one another out. That potentially over time one might get to that, but of course we're looking at a situation where it's the Chinese currency which is really under pressure, and that puts them in a disadvantageous position, and it makes U.S. ability to move also more limited. So I don't see really that. I know people have talked about maybe there's a deal down the road, maybe there's a new Plaza Accord.
Okay.
I don't see it on the immediate horizon, to be honest.
Potentially.